What's going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back with another episode of the Film Room here at Two Guys Watching Football. We're going to be diving into just what exactly happened on the right side of the Baltimore Ravens offensive line, looking specifically at Alejandro Villaneuva. If you're looking forward to O-line breakdowns all year long, go ahead, click the like button, hit subscribe so you don't miss one drop. Before we get into it, I want to take a second and say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the 2021 Film Room series here on Two Guys Watching Football. It's our friends over at the Flavor Cupcakery and Bake Shop, Harford County's sweetest bake shop, and the winners of Season 4 of Cupcake Wars on the Food Network, so you know they're legit. Flavors specializes in freshly baked cupcakes, cakes, French macaroons, cookies, cookie dough, pies, as well as La Colombe coffee and espresso drinks. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Stop by for a delicious treat or a coffee and tell them that the Two Guys Watching Football sent you. I've dropped all their information in the description below, so be sure to check them out. Ravens Nation has Alejandro Villaneuva under fire, and rightfully so. It was a rough outing. No way around it there. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of put him in a spotlight. Let's key in and see exactly what happened on Monday Night Football. And, I'm looking to move beyond the what. We know it was a rough game. The film room isn't here to kind of, rag on a guy. So instead, we're going to get more into the why and, more importantly, look at how Villaneuva can improve on Sunday in a game where they're going to need a higher level of play with the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town. So I want to start off with some context. PFF charged Villaneuva with 10 pressures on 40 pass snaps. It's obviously absurdly high, 25% pressure allowed rate. It's also worth noting that it wasn't just the number of pressures, it was the quality of pressures. So of those 10 pressures, 3 were QB hits, 2 were sacks, 5 hurries. So, it's not just that Lamar is throwing under pressure with that pressure coming from the right tackle spot, but it's also he's taking contact, which we do not want to see. And to compare, Ronnie Stanley, who also had a rough outing and something that we may have to cover in a separate video. So he allowed 9, which is also high. One less than 10, but only 1 was a QB hit and there were 0 sacks. So at least Lamar was kept, from being hit. But obviously 8 hurries isn't good either. So, and, when you think about it, that's 19 pressures allowed by offensive tackles on 40 pass rush snaps, which is, absurdly high. I think the total pressure rate was 54%, which was actually higher than Patrick Mahomes faced in the Super Bowl, which was 52.5%. So, it just goes to show, the fact that Lamar was able to still have some sort of production and create for himself. It shows his natural gifts. It's why he's an MVP candidate. It's why he is able to, make chicken salad out of chicken crap. So with that said, we're going to get into the film, look at what happened, see if we can identify some problems, which I do think we can. And so, that's kind of my positive spin on this. If you want to get into the spin zone, it's tougher to address a problem when it's athleticism, play strength, stuff that just really can't be fixed week to week. That being said, with Villanueva, I think the problem is identifiable. So as we know, Villanueva switched to the right side. If you go back to my preseason commentary, you know that I thought he showed some positive signs in the preseason, specifically with a set point. So what is a set point? Set point is when you're in a pass set, it's getting to that spot before you make contact. So it's consistently getting square with a defender, or the defender, the edge rusher, and going through the pass sets. So it's all about getting to that set point. And one of the key issues when you're making that switch, it's your drive leg is now the opposite leg. So, your drive leg or your kick step leg, whatever you want to refer to it as, it's your outside leg. So it's the leg that you're driving off of to get into space. Obviously, when you switch sides, it's like, switching hands is, go wipe your butt with your opposite hand, eat with a fork with your opposite hand. It can be tough. It causes an adjustment. And it's actually been a huge topic among the O-line community on Twitter with regards to Penei Sewell taking snaps at right tackle in the preseason. Now he's back on the left side for the Lions, and he looked a lot better. Guys like Brandon Thorne, Greg Foster, they were specifically showing his drive leg looking much cleaner on the left side. And, even Duke Mayweather was in there showing some of those right tackle snaps from the preseason, what the issues are. So when people say, what is the issue when you do switch sides, I think this is one of the key issues, and we're seeing it impact Villanueva. So what I did is I pulled a bunch of his pass pro clips. We're going to focus on that. He had an okay day in the run game. He had, I think, 3 blown blocks. But overall, I actually was pretty impressed. I thought he did much better than what we did see in the preseason from him. But we're going to focus on the pass pro clips because that was obviously the huge issue. And what I want to do is I want to focus in on that set point in the first, I think I pulled 7 plays looking at a set point, and we're going to look at 4 or 5 negative ones, but then we're going to look at 2 positive ones, and we'll kind of see the difference in where he sets, how he gets square, and where he was having issues. Let's get right into the film here. So we're going to start. This is the play that has basically gone viral. Let's play it through and we'll go back and break it down. So he misses. Crosby comes around. There was also pressure from the left side, but somehow this was a completion. Both of your offensive tackles are getting blown up, but let's look at what happens here. So we're going to see a vertical set from Villanueva. So when I'm talking about a set point, he sets here. So that's where he sets. Now you can see right here, Crosby is already deeper than his outside foot. So that means that when he goes to hit a hand strike, he's going to have no leverage. He's not going to have any balance or anything in his base. And Crosby now has a free line here. So when I'm talking about a set point, it's where he sets to go into that strike point. And he's just, this is simple. He's just too shallow. So what we see is, he comes back. You'd ideally like to see him out here where he's more square with Crosby's shoulders. And that is something that, you don't just have a generic set point. You have to also obviously adjust to your pass rusher. But look at where Crosby's lined up. He's wide. They were doing this to him all game long. They were just getting wide and trying to bend his edge. And, here he doesn't get deep. He misses. He ends up on the ground. So when I'm referring to the set point and where he had issues, this is going to be a common theme where he's just not deep enough, at least in the first half. And I say that because we're going to see some snaps where Crosby, and I got to give Crosby credit. He had a heck of a game. He did such a good job in I always call it the game within the game. And that's the pass rush battle where, you are using a varying array of pass rush moves to set up other pass rush moves that you'll use later. And we will see that. But, this is where I think the key issue was with Villanueva. It's that set point. He's not getting deep enough here in first half snaps. And, it's just, he's giving too much laneway, and, no one's going to hit a strike there that's going to do anything. He's, and you end up on the ground. So, like I said, identifiable problem, obviously consistent execution of it is not easy, but at least we can look at the problem and say what it was. So here, we'll run through another clip here. And so the reason I wanted to show this one is because I liked what Villanueva was doing here. He comes out and tries to set quickly on Crosby. And, that is actually smart because when he's out here playing in this much space, he wants to be able to build up his speed to kind of make a move on him. So what can you do to counter that game within the game? Get out on him quicker, get your hands on him, use your leverage, use your leverage and use your arm length, which is something that Villanueva has been very good at in his career. So he's going to come out. You see right here, he quick sets, right? So he gets out on him and Crosby sees it. And then what happens here is he's just not patient enough in his hands. So he comes out and he lunges, and that's what happens right there. So again, if a quick set on a wide technique here is always going to be a little bit tough, but you have to get your feet out there. That's what's doing the quick set, and then you still have to be patient with your hands. So he just hits him with the double hand swipe. This is something that Crosby did a few times that night. It's just, once he starts to lunge, he hits him with his the double hand swipe, and he doesn't have his feet in place to recover. So, the ball comes out. This is that third down where Lamar missed Tyson Williams. It could have been a first down, but still lost rep. And I think it once again shows an issue with the set point. He's not deep enough, but he's also not patient with his hands. That's something that I think is a reoccurring theme in this game as well. Moving on, we're going to check out Again, I'll run the play through. Okay, so this is one I wanted to look at because this comes later in the game. And what you saw in the second half, and I'm assuming this came from, Coach D going in and talking to Villanueva, watch his set point. See how much deeper he is here, how much quicker he gets out there to get square. That is what you want to see from a set point. But here's what Crosby does so well, because he took, such drastic strides to match Max Crosby's speed. Max Crosby just comes inside on him. That's an insane throw by Lamar too. Like, he's got no base here. That's just pure, a nice little arm flick to get it out. So this is, again, another problem, because when you get out to set quick on this guy, you have to maintain that inside hand so that if he comes back inside on you, you're ready. And, this is tough with some of these jump sets, like he did right here. He's too tall here. You can see, look at the contrast to Stanley on the left side here, nice and low, able to kind of, take on some of the contact, but Villanueva is too high. Crosby just attacks the inside shoulder, pushes him aside, gets a little bit of pressure. So, like I said, there was a game within the game here, and Crosby did a great job with it. But, it was nice to see him adjust his set point, but now he's got to be ready for that inside move. And there it is again. So, moving on to the next one, I think we're going to see something similar if I remember the way I set these clips up. Let's run it through. Okay. And this is just beautiful work by Crosby. So again, watch his set point. So he's square. Everything's good, right? But Crosby sees that. He hits him with an inside move. Like I said, he started attacking him inside on the left side, or in the second half. So he hits him with that inside step. Villanueva overcompensates, probably because he was getting beat inside, and Crosby pairs it with a spin. Like, that is just, and of course, there's pressure coming from the left side too. Lamar's under fire. He takes off. This is what I'm talking about. The game within the game. He's beating him on the speed rush, bending him outside in the first half. He sees Villanueva adjust, so he starts attacking him inside because he's getting deeper on his set. And now he's going to pair that with, okay, I'm going to, fake inside. You're going to overreact because I just beat you there. And now I'm going to spin off you and get back out. So, I mean, this is where I guess the question that most people will have is, what can he do here? And it's being consistent with your technique. It's not overthinking it. It's like I said before, it's having that hand up to block that inside move so that you don't have to try and overcompensate with your feet. I just went backwards there. Move that up there. Oh, wait, no, that's a lie. I went forwards. Okay. So what you'd like to see here is when he takes that inside step, that's okay, because I have my inside hand ready. I'm going to be ready to block that. And, it's tough, obviously, for Villanueva to read Zeitler's guy trying to take him outside. But obviously that makes this rep even uglier because he's overcompensating inside when, Crosby's basically running into his own player. But again, just a beautiful move by Crosby. So again, consistent problem with the set point, but then adjusting once he tried to correct the set point, because I think you can see it pretty clearly here. Like, Villanueva tries to set square to him. And so if he's going outside like he was before, he would have been set up quite well for him to drop his anchor, hit his punch, and go through the pass set. So, it's one of those things where, Crosby seemed to be a step ahead on him all day, and he just made Villanueva's life a living heck. So I want to focus on a couple of plays here. I'm going to run this through. Okay. So why did I want to focus on this play? Because what I want to show is the contrast of some ugly plays where his set point is off to showing what it should look like. And, it's also, credit Villanueva. He had some good snaps, and that should give us some hope. Yeah, I'm in the spin zone, but, so watch here. Kick. He's nice and square with them. And the key thing here is, because Crosby's trying to bend his edge, he's just patient. Just be patient with your hands. And then when he comes in, he's ready. So this is a much better rep. I think this shows what you'd like to see from a set point. So, you go to those first two clips where he's too shallow. Now he's square with them. You look at the third clip where he was shooting his hands out too early. Now we're seeing a clip where he's patient. So, this is where if I'm Villanueva, I'm watching this clip over and over again to see what it looks like when I do it right. Let's run it through one more time. Just look how he stays patient. Kick, 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 hit your punch, boom. He's got control. He's got leverage. That's a good rep. So move on. I got one more positive. You guys will remember if you watched believe it was the first preseason game. This is a signature of Villanueva, something he's done for years. He's going to hit Crosby here with the snatch and trap. So that's just, he gets so used to guys trying to go low on him because he's so tall that he is able to use their momentum of getting low against them. He gets his hands clasped on the top. He throws them down on their stomach. But again, look at the set point. Square, patient, and he hits it. So, like I said, it's obviously, he's not going to have on the 40 pass rush snaps, he's not going to have 40 bad plays, but it's important when you're trying to break down what a guy did well, what he did poorly. You have to take the good and the bad and look at him doing it properly to see what it needs to look like. And that's what I really want to focus on here. Let's run it through one more time. Tastes square, stays patient. Love to see it. And then I want to take a look at two more plays. These are going to show two different issues. And so we're kind of getting away from the set point here. And this is just two other things that I noticed that I would like people to be aware of because, I want to try and get as much information out there so that we're all looking for this stuff next week. So we're going to look at, this is the fumble, if I remember. Yep, this is the fumble in overtime. So key thing here is you got to watch Carl Nassib. So he's going to go on a pre-snap movement outside of Crosby here. And you'll see Zeitler, and I'll play this through a few times. You'll see him kind of pop his hips up right when I hit play. And what it looks like to me is he's noticing that Nassib is moving because we have he was lined up here. I didn't get quite the exact start of the clip, but he was kind of lined up inside here. So that's, simple. We have a zero shade over Bozeman. Nassib is Zeitler's man. And then we have Crosby out here for Villanueva. Should be a pretty simple protection, but you see Nassib go outside. And so that shifts that. You also see this guy coming in off the edge. So now we have a 5-man rush against a 5-man protection. Sorry, that's a lie. It's just a 5-man rush against a 6-man protection because you'll see Williams stay in. This should be a very simple pre-snap adjustment. Zeitler, reads it. He's starting to kick out here because he knows Bozeman's got this guy, and he's going to probably have the inside man of Crosby or Nassib. I saw someone refer to this as a stunt. I don't necessarily think it's a stunt because this movement is pre-snap. So I expect the offensive line in this situation to have pre-snap communication, and I think obviously I can't hear what they're saying. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say Zeitler was communicating, but it does look like, watch him right here. See how he kind of popped up there? That's what really made me think that he said something. And it's just the way he kicks out. So he was ready for, maybe Nassib came on a loop inside or Crosby was going to knife. It doesn't really matter. It was in this situation, Zeitler's got the inside man, Villanueva's got the outside man. The problem is they both come inside. Williams now has to pick up this guy or Lamar has to get the ball out. So again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys against a 6-man protection. This should be easy. And you can see Villanueva right here on the pause frame. He's looking over his shoulder, and it's one of those oh crap moments, I think. Williams doesn't quite get it. There it is. Ball comes out. Raiders recover. We know how the ending went. So, what I'd like to see is better pre-snap communication, better pre-snap recognition. Like I said, I don't think this is that difficult to pick up because the ball's snapped right here. Nassib's already moving. Like you can see this. And one of the things that is confusing is offensive line plays inside out, but you still have to pass off stunts, right? So this does work in a similar pass off fashion as a stunt. It's just not the same because I think it's easier for an offensive line to pick up because the movement was pre-snap. So, this should be Villanueva would have his inside hand. here on Crosby's outside shoulder, which is kind of the pass off to Zietler, who comes over and, to Zietler's credit, picks him up no problem. But the problem is right here. Villanueva continues on Crosby, and Nassib comes unblocked, pops the ball out, Raiders recover. So, there's obviously, there was no shortage of issues in this game for the Ravens, but it's one of those things where, like I said, I think the problem is identifiable. I think this is something that the coaches are going to sit down and look at very closely in the film room. And I think Villanueva can actually answer some of this because it's such a clear issue. Consistent set points, staying patient with your hands, trusting your feet. That's where I saw issues. Things like the communication, some of that's going to happen because these guys are new to playing with one another. It just kind of comes with repetition. One thing that I've said about Zietler when he came over is he's such a good communicator. You saw it in a lot of his Giants film. And to be quite honest, you saw it a lot in week 1. You can see him communicating before the snap. He's pointing guys out. He's making adjustments with Bozeman. It's good to see. And so it's going to come down to chemistry on that and guys getting used to playing with one another. But you see in this play, it was a detrimental moment, right? Credit the Raiders for making those plays, using movement to kind of create mismatches. But, I do think that pass off was a relatively easy one. It was just missed. So a lot to take in here. I think this gives us a good overview of sort of what Villanueva's issue was, where he can fix it. And, like I said, I do think it's possible to fix because I think a lot of it is technique based. I don't think he was failing to get to his set point because of athleticism, for example. And I think you can see that pretty clearly in the clips where he does get out there quite easily and makes his block. It's getting to that set point, being patient with his hands. That's what's going to come with improved play. So that's all we have for you today in the film room. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. Peace out, everyone.